This is a rundown of the Pro Tools skills test as an MOV file, we hope. We're going to go through step by step. I'm going to go very quickly. You do have the Pro Tools guide with you. Just follow along as I do things. Since it's an MOV file, you can stop, rewind, fast forward as you see fit. Step number one is to run Pro Tools without using the dock. Not every company is going to have a dock. Not every company is going to have Pro Tools in the dock. So to get to the applications window, you Command-Shift-A, brings out System Applications. You have to go over to DigiDesign, then select Pro Tools, and then you click on Pro Tools HD. You can hit Command-O for open, and that will run Pro Tools for you. The test asks you to set the parameters of 44.1, 24-bit, AIF or SD2, anything but wave, anything that's out of the ordinary. So let's do that. When Pro Tools is finished running, the first thing it says is, great, what do you want to do? Well, I hit Command-N for a new session. We're going to follow the parameters. I just need to know that you know how to change these parameters, right? We're going to use 16-bit AIF, 48K, no, 24-bit, 44.1. Very common setup nowadays. And do we ever use last used? We never use last used. So in this case, we're going to use stereo mix, and then we're going to hit the OK button. It's going to ask us to name it and place it. We'll save it to the desktop, and we'll call this Pro Tools Skills Guide. It runs. The proper settings for Audio 201 are 48K 24-bit .wave. What I have to do here is I don't care about comments, so I'm going to press and hold the Option key and click on these title bars, and it makes those things disappear for us. Okay, and now I have to create with using the keyboard shortcuts. And in order, I've got to create all these tracks. So Command-Shift-N brings up this window. So I need to create 8 mono audio tracks. I can hit Command-Shift-N again to bring up new tracks. Or I could hit Command and Keypad plus. If I happen to hit Command Keypad minus, it takes them away. So I need 2 mono auxiliary tracks. If I use the Command key with the up and down, it will, here, up and down changes the kind of track that I want. So in this case, I want an aux, and left command, left and right, changes the number of channels. So it's currently mono. Now I need to create 8 stereo audio tracks. Command keypad plus, I need 2 stereo auxiliary inputs. Command keypad plus, I need to create 1 stereo master fader. Command keypad plus 1 5.1, which is command right arrow, and then command down arrow for master fader. Is that it? And hit create. So I just hit the enter key, and there they are. Okay, next step. Okay. So I like to do this in the mixer. There are those of you who have been using the edit window all this time. Well, today we're going to do it in the mixer. So command equals brings up, toggles the mix edit window. And that's a test question later. So we need a side chain that has 4 mono tracks going to one of the mono auxes. I like to work backwards in this case. So what I'm going to do here is pick an aux, give the aux an input. In this case, we'll give it bus number 1. It's always the next available bus. Seeing how none of these are in orange, I know that none of these are used. So now I can select bus 1. Now with confidence, I can go over here. Let's just use 4 tracks. So what I'm going to do is send number 1. I'm going to send it out bus number 1. But what I have to do is send the gain out as at -20. Now I can click and drag this mouse, or if I command click and drag, it's 1Z, 2Z increments. See how it's going in tenths? If I let go of the command key, click and drag, it goes in big chunks. I could also come over here, type in -20, enter, and there it is. So now what I have to do is create 3 more of these. The easiest way to do that is to press and hold the Option key and drag these guys over. Click and drag these guys over. Now I have 4 auxes going to 4 sends going to 1 aux channel. The one thing you really have to do is solo safe the aux channel, which is press and hold the command key and click on the S button. See how it goes ghosted? The solo safe, another way to say it is say never muted. That's what solo safe does. This track will never get muted. Now the next step is to take 2 mono tracks and 2 stereo tracks and send them to one of the stereo auxes. Is that right? So what we do is, again, let's just work backwards. We're going to take an aux channel and give it an input, and you'll notice that the input has to be a 2-channel one. Now, before I only used bus number 1, but see how it says that bus number 1 and 2 is in use because it's a stereo pair. I can't automatically go to 2, so I have to select the next stereo bus. In this case, it's 3 and 4. So I'm going to give that an input. I'm immediately going to solo safe it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this a little differently. So I'm going to deselect all of these tracks by hitting the option, press and hold option, and click on the channel. Now I'm going to press and hold the command key and select 4 of these channels. I've got 2 mono over here and 2 stereo over here. Then what we do is we shift option, create a new send. I'm going to send it to bus number 3 and 4 and watch what happens. Whoosh. All 4 of them at the same time. That's a really quick way. Now you'll notice that they're all set to unity gain. What I can do is change that in preferences. I can go to Pro Tools Preferences, which is located, well, I know it's down here, right? Go to Preferences, and in mixing, I can say sends are sent to infinity, which means off. Or if this is unset, it should say if it's clicked, it's infinity. If it's not clicked, it's at unity. So unity gain is 0 dB of change. Okay, sweet. What do I have to do next? Okay, so on the stereo aux channel, I need to set an EQ. So, and set the input of the EQ to be -9. Well, if I grab this EQ, I can see that this EQ has got an input gain. I just drag this down to -9. Okay, that's one way I could do that. If you want above the maximum, well, there you go. Below. Well, let's just say at -9 for today. Now, the other part is if I don't want to use this EQ, I could use a real nice EQ. And where's the input for the Rec 2? There is no input. It's at unity gain. So in this case, there's no input gain to set because this is output. That's what that guy is. Okay, what's next? Okay, add a compressor and verb in that order and load a preset. So I'm just going to pick a compressor that I happen to like, and all I need you to do is know that you can load presets. You want to change these settings, that's fine. Whoa, that's a little ridiculous. All right, and a reverb. So all I'm going to do is now, if I want to keep this window open and add a reverb, what do I have to do? I could hit the red square thing, or if I press and hold the shift key, it never closes this. So if I open the new one with the shift key depressed, it never closes that one. I know it. The question is, does it work with Audio Suite as well? Don't know, haven't tried. I don't know, give it a shot. All right, now I have to load a preset for this, so let's load Churches Cathedral. All right, sweet. Now I have to set up these exact same settings on the master fader without hitting the load button. Is that correct? Closing insert windows. So if I have all these insert windows open, if I shift click, that opens up all those windows. In order to close these windows, I hit Command Option W, and that closes preset windows. Okay. Set up the same exact compressor, EQ, and verb on the stereo master fader. The easiest way to do that is option drag. I've tried to shift option drag all of them, doesn't work. If you find a faster way to do it, you just call me at home. That'd be great. Otherwise, this is how you do it. All right, next. Okay, So we're at the 9 o'clock hour. So if I'm working on reel 9, to get the session set up, I hit Command Keypad 2 that brings up the session setup. Then what I have to do is, since we're working on reel 9, what is my session start time? 08580000. Now get a load of this. If I click away, if I just close this window, watch what happens. It doesn't remember it. You have to type in 08580000, and you have to hit, well, 08580000. You have to hit the Enter key or the Tab key to take this data into the database. Otherwise, it won't remember it, and you will get marked off for that. Okay, now what? Memory location at the hour mark. So I'm currently at 58. There's several ways I could do this. It's keypad asterisk, and I could type in 9 hours. I could do that, or if I were at the beginning of the session, I could hit keypad asterisk, hit the plus sign, and say go 2 minutes into the future. And I'm there at 9 o'clock again. And then I hit Enter key, which places a memory location, and then I just hit Enter again, and next step. Close and save the session. So I need to save it first, and then I need to close the session without quitting Pro Tools, which is Command-Shift-W, and that closes Pro Tools session but leaves Pro Tools running. Are we all good with that? Pro Tools is still running, and yet it closed the session. Command-Shift-W. Okay. Now, go ahead. Command-S it, yeah. All right. Or you can hit the pretty red button on the console twice. Okay. Next, I have to create a brand new session with a proper format for this class, right? So Command N for new session, because Pro Tools is my currently running program. For Audio 201, we create 48K 24-bit dot wave, and we always use last use, right? I will slap you. No, we're going to create stereo in this case. I'm going to call it Pro Tools. Okay. And we saved it to the desktop. There it is. Now I need to import session data from a pre-existing session, right? So Shift Option I is import session data. The session you're going to import from is probably going to be on the instructor drive or the student drive, actually in this case student drive, and it'll be the yellow folder. See, it is right there. Instructor drive right there. So I'm going to grab the Pro Tools Skills Import Emulator thing. So we select it and we hit Open. It brings up a window. Whoops, session time is earlier. So what? Can't help that. Now on the test, I'm either going to ask you to copy or link. It depends on what's up in this window. So today we're going to say link all media where possible. What that means is leave my original audio in its original folders. Just go get it when I need it. Don't copy it to my current audio files folder. This is how you keep your hard drive from getting overly polluted with too many files in too many different places. I'm just going to go get that stuff and use it for this session. Now, I need to get all of these tracks, so I'm going to press and hold the Option key, and I'm going to click on any one of these and hit New Track. And you notice how they all say New Track, including the movie track. Okay? Then we just hit OK, and it imports all the data. Now, if I go to my project manager, now we know that my project is saved. If I go down here to path, I can just confirm that my project is currently saved in a folder called desktop, right? System users desktop Pro Tools Guide 2. But if you look where all my audio files are, they're located instructor Pro Tools Skills 9. See, so it's linking to where my original audio is. None of it is in my current audio files folder. It's not copying, it's getting it and using it from that location. Now, I got a bunch of tracks that are labeled incorrectly. Next is naming tracks, is that right? Oh, set session start time. For reel 10, so if I go Command Keypad 2, the proper setting for reel 10 is 09580000. I either have to hit Tab or Enter. I'll hit Enter. Unable to maintain original, yeah, you either don't do it or you hit OK. We'll choose OK today. Okay, otherwise, you're stuck in a loop. So we're done with this window, which is toggling Command Keypad 2, or you can click on the red dot at the hour mark. All right, So I've got to get to the hour mark. So I'm on reel 10. I could click in here and type in a 10 and 6 zeros. Go to there. Now, how do I set memory locations 10 seconds apart? The fastest way I know how to do that is set my nudge value. Where is my nudge value located? Well, here it's in bars and beats. I want it to be SMPTE time code. Okay. It's currently set for hours, minutes, seconds, frames. It's set for 5 frames. I want it to be 10 seconds. So I'm going to click on seconds, hit 10, and enter. Place a memory location by hitting enter twice, and hit the nudge key, which is keypad plus. Goes 10 seconds in the future. This is your confirmation. Hit enter twice, keypad plus. It's important later. It's boring now, but it's important later. So we all get out of the way. 0 to memory location 1 to location 19. And since our insertion cursor is currently at 19, we're 3 minutes. Right here it says we're 3 minutes in. So I think we did pretty good on that one. Okay, now what? All right, so the mono tracks we're going to have to label. There, you should never have a track listed audio 1 anything. All right, so we're going to, the fastest way I know to label all of the tracks is as follows. First, you have to bring up the label the track window. So I'm going to double click that guy. It brings it up. See how it's already highlighted. So this is an FX track. So I'm going to type in the letters FX and then always love the leading 0. So FX 0. Then I'm going to shift up arrow to highlight it, Command C for copy, Command V for paste, type in a 1. Command down arrow goes to my next track. Now all I have to do is hit paste 2. Command down arrow, paste 3, paste 4, paste 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't name Splork because that's an AUX track. It's a green track. And not only that, let me cancel this for a second. You can tell it's an AUX track because there's a fader value and also because you can't see that icon. All right, let me go to my I/O. And if you look at the fader, see how it's got nothing. All right, go to the mixer. In the mix window, you'll see that it's got this input. That's an AUX channel. That's an input. Okay, so that's not an audio track. So now I've got to label these guys SFX 1 through 4. So I'm going to, again, double click on it. It comes in pre-highlighted. Type in SFX, the number 0. Shift up arrow copies it. Command C for copy. Shift up arrow selects it. Command C for copy. Command V for paste. Type in a 1. Command down. Oh, you rat. 1, command down arrow, paste 2, command down arrow, paste 3, command down arrow, paste 4, command down arrow. Notice how this doesn't have a number after it. It's pre-labeled for you to know that that's an AUX channel. Okay, then we go all the way down to this guy, tray track, which is BG0, shift up arrow, command C, command V, 1, command down arrow, paste 2, command down arrow, paste 3, command down arrow, paste 4. Now all of our tracks are labeled properly. Okie dokie. What do you got next? Yeah, moving on.
Using the keyboard, set the nudge value to 4 sprockets.
All right, using the keyboard, we have to set our nudge value to be 4 sprockets. All right, so the question becomes, how long is a sprocket? Well, a sprocket, there are 4 sprockets per frame. So 4 sprockets equals 1 frame. So up here, if you look at hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. So if we use the keyboard equivalent, which is Command Option, using the keypad numbers up and down, you can see that these numbers are going to change. So these are, all I'm doing is cycling between the preset values. So Command Option up and down, Command Option keypad plus and minus changes to the preset values. If I go to my grid to change my default grid values, let me show you that just because I'm here. Option Control keypad plus minus changes your grid numbers. Okay, what's next?
Make the movie start exactly at
Got it. So we're not allowed to touch the movie or drag the movie, but what I have to do is get my movie to locate to memory location 1. First of all, I have to find my movie track. How can I tell if there's a movie track? Well, all of these are, that's an input, That's a side chain, that's a bus, that's an aux channel, these are audio channels, that's a master fader. And if I go all the way down here where there's this movie icon, that track is my movie track. So I know it's the very last one. So I scroll down, there it is, it says frames, it says 2997. My microphone's being difficult. And so I've got to locate my movie. The fastest way to do that is get into the F7 tool, get to memory location 1, get to memory location 1, and so period 1 period is the answer to that one. And then what I have to do is if I shift tab, that selects from where I am to where my film starts, right? Period 1 period. I've clicked in this track, right? Period 1 period. Shift tab selects from memory location 1 to the, well, shift tab is select to the next edit location. So notice how I'm 21 hours, 55 minutes, 34 seconds into the future. Yeah. So the thing is, look how far away that is. I put that there on purpose just to make sure that you know how to jump to specific locations in the setup. So how do I get my movie to jump from where it is to where it's got to be? I hit shuffle mode and delete. So now when I go to memory location 1, my film is right there, right? Because it ripples, it shuffles everything back that way. Okay? So my movie started. Now I have to hide my movie track. No, there's hide a movie track in there somewhere. So to hide a track, what we've got to do is click on this guy, click on that dot, and that hides and displays track. So let's go to memory location 1. So let's go down there. There's my movie, and if I hide the movie, it disappears, and if I put it back, there's my movie. Now my movie window is Command Keypad 9. Even though I've hidden my movie track, my movie is still there. See, my movie is still there, and it will still play. It's just the track is hidden, is inconsequential. Okay, so we've got to hide movie tracks and so on. Next is Bee Gees. Okay, so with the Bee Gees thing, what we have to do is on background 1 and background 2, we have to toggle points of view. We're going to have to toggle back and forth between different scenes. We go back and forth and back and forth. So first of all, let's get out of shuffle mode, go into slip mode. Then what I'm going to do is show the region list, and we're going to take, I don't want to see the full path, so I'm going to go down here and show and uncheck full path so we just see the region. We're going to take atmospheres and put it on BG1. Then we're going to take room tone and put it on BG2. You notice how that they overlap each other. So what I need to do is trim these up to fit. So I'm going to, on this track with the F7 tool, click here, period 1 period, and select a memory location 2, shift period 2 period, and then I'm going to Command T and hit trim. Then I'm going to go down here to this track, period 2 period, and then shift period 3 period, Command T for trim. Now I've got my 2 regions set. Now I've got to fill from here all the way down to here with those backgrounds. Fastest way I know how to do it is select both of them. I'm going to hit Command X for cut. I'm at memory location 1. I select out to memory location 19, which is shift period 19 period, and then hit Option Command V. And it fills the screen with those backgrounds. It fills the selected area. Now it automatically brings up this batch fade list. The thing you need to do is hit cancel, because the rule of thumb is, oh, I didn't do crickets, right? I got to do crickets in a second. Let's move these guys down. The rule of thumb is the incoming scene starts 1 frame early. So if I hit, in order to drag the start or edit the start of a region, it's Option and then keypad plus or minus to nudge it earlier or later. The problem is if I do it in this selection mode, it's only going to do it to the first one because it's one large region. What you have to do is make these individual regions. So you're going to hit the F8 tool, and you're going to cycle all the way around to what's called the Object tool. You're going to marquee these, click and drag, and now we've got, see how it highlights in yellow? That means this is a bunch of individual files, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom in on one of them and watch. Now my nudge value is currently set to 1 frame. If I Option keypad minus See how it nudges it? Now my entire length, instead of being 3 minutes now, is 3 minutes 1 frame. And if I click on any one of these regions, see how it's 10 seconds in 1 frame. If I go to the next one, 10 seconds in 1 frame, 10 seconds in 1 frame. Let's undo that move. See where I'm headed with all that? So the cool thing is now they have this 1 frame overlap. The incoming scene, the one I'm going to, starts 1 frame early. In order to put fades across all of these guys with the F7 tool, I highlight them, I hit Command F, 33 milliseconds equals 1 frame, right? 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. They're 30 frames per second. 1/30th of 1,000 is 33.333333. Since we can't have decimal points, we say 33 milliseconds. Hit Enter, and let's pick number 10. If I go to number 10 and zoom in, you'll see that there's a 1 frame overlap, equal power, and my incoming scene starts 1 frame early. That's how you do backgrounds. Your backgrounds must match this thing. Now let's deal with the crickets. All right, you have to put crickets solid top to bottom from start to end. So let's grab cricks. Now remember, in the database, you can have misspellings all over the place. So CRI, if you type in cricket, you will never find cricks. Okay, you sort of have to know these wacky misspellings. If you look at this file, it's pre-sabotaged in that there's a hole in the middle of it. What you have to do is highlight the area short, hit Command T for trim, hit Command X for cut, then select the entire length, which is period 1 period to shift period 19 period. That gives me my entire window, right? Option Command V is a fill paste. Now in this case, since the overlap is already there, I do want my fill paste to do. I want my batch fade to work. So I'm going to hit go, and it created all those fades for me. So if I go to here, I'm going to hit Command F and see how there's a nice equal power crossfade across this this audio, which is a great thing to have. Okay. Now the problem is, I ask you to, on the test, I want you to play a scene for me so we can listen to that fade. All right, let's mute these 2 tracks. What's going to happen? Nothing. Why is nothing happening? Because the track is muted. All right. Now, why is, well, I got audio, but I'm not hearing it. Why not? Because the output is set for 1 and 2, but some genius labeled this as stereo as opposed to the hardware interface, which is that stereo. And now I'm going to hear crickets. I'm not hearing crickets because I'm not on mains. There we go. Sounds like crickets to me.
So pretty much what you have to do is
Get rid of the gap and fill paste. Absolutely. Okay. Right, I'm sorry, I already did all that. Now what we have to do is replace atmospheres, take drone, and across the board replace drone, replace anytime it says atmospheres with drone. That's what we have to do. Okay. So how do we do that in one step? Well, I could sit there and re-edit it, but I want to bill as though I did that, but I want to do it a faster way. So we need to get to drone first. Then what we do is we shift command. You got to check your manual, make sure I did the spelling of that right. I might have put the wrong command key. But if I shift command, click drone, and drag it over here, it doesn't do squat. Why not? No, it shouldn't matter. Right, I'm just not remembering the command. Oh, shut up. Right. God. What the heck? Does it have to be the F8 tool? Oh, come on. Well, didn't want to do that, whatever that was. Oh, that's just pitch shift. Right. Control does that. Command, yeah. Who's got the Pro Tools guide? I mean, I'm sure it's this command. I don't know why it's not working. Replace drone. So if I drag it over it, that doesn't do squat. What I need to do is when I drag it from here and drag it onto atmospheres, it brings up the replace audio window, which is up on the next page. I think if I do it a few thousand more times exactly the same way. Right, so I take drone and I command, that's what I did, Command, Shift, drag. Right, look at that. It'll do it there, but it won't do it on atmospheres. Why not? Gosh, I've never seen that before, but lo and behold, no. What is the dang deal? Drone, atmosphere. That is really strange that I could do it here. Oh, sorry. Command, Shift, mic droops. Sorry. All right, what we're going to do is stop this recording. Just